With the Avengers films Doomsday and Secret Wars, Marvel's multiverse saga reaches its spectacular conclusion. But what comes next? The answer will make longtime fans' hearts leap for joy. The X-Men are finally joining the MCU in a big way with a feature film of their own. In fact, the entire next saga is supposed to revolve around the popular comic book mutants. The major reboot of the superhero series is of course fueling plenty of speculation. What will happen to the old cast surrounding Hugh Jackman? Which new actors are joining the lineup? And how is all of this connected to the announced reset of the MCU? We will explore all that and much more in this video. These are turbulent times in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Most theatrical releases in recent years have struggled to build on the franchise's past successes. Even though recent movies like Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four are seen by many fans as a step in the right direction, record-breaking audience numbers remain elusive. It's high time for a new approach. Disney CEO Bob Iger shares this view, believing that Marvel has lost its focus. There have simply been too many productions in too short a time, especially to fill the Disney Plus streaming service. So the new goal is to limit releases to a maximum of 3 high-quality movies per year. And Marvel seems to be taking this seriously. In 2026, we are expecting just 2 movies in theaters, Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. For 2027, so far only the release of Avengers Secret Wars at the end of the year has been confirmed. Marvel has also reserved July 23, 2027 for an untitled movie release. While this could line up with the planned X-Men filming next year, it is also 5 months before the release of Secret Wars. It would be very strange for Marvel to kick off its big new saga before wrapping up the old one. We are more likely to see an independent movie like Blade, if it ever manages to escape production hell. In return, 2028 will bring as many as 4 movie releases, one of which is almost certainly the new X-Men film, the start of the so-called mutant saga, and the beginning of Phase 7. Before that, however, we will still have a reunion with the old X-Men. Their big farewell will likely take place in the upcoming Avengers films. At least many of the classic X-Men actors have been confirmed to appear in Avengers Doomsday. The next mutants are expected to make their debut afterwards. Kevin Feige has spoken of a so-called reset that will establish a new singular timeline. The mission: to introduce a new generation of heroes. When it comes to the cast, there are still many open questions. But according to Kevin Feige, one thing is clear: we will get to see a bunch of new faces. That fits with the announcement that the new X-Men are meant to be a cornerstone of the MCU. They will certainly want to work with the same actors for many years to come, so the choice will probably fall on actors in their 20s or at most their 30s. Of course, speculation is already running wild, with the first names being linked to the iconic X-Men roles. For example, early rumors suggest that actress Julia Butters could take on the role of Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is a mutant who has the ability to pass through solid matter. Furthermore, according to Hollywood insider Jeff Snyder, there are other names on Marvel's wish list. Stranger Things star Sadie Sink is reportedly being considered for the role of Jean Grey. This is particularly exciting because she is already part of the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day. With the release of that film at the latest, it should become clear whether Sink is playing the mutant or another role in the MCU. Harris Dickinson is reportedly being eyed for the role of Cyclops. The actor is known for his performances in Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman and Triangle of Sadness. As for Mystique, Euphoria star Hunter Schafer could potentially take on the role. Casting a trans woman as the iconic shapeshifter would certainly be a bold move, one that is likely to ignite a lot of debate. Additionally, Jesse Plemons is said to be joining the cast. In X-Men, he could play the role of Hank McCoy, better known as Beast. Plemons has long been a fan favorite for this role. It is important to emphasize once again that all these names are currently just rumors. There have been no official confirmations regarding the X-Men cast yet. Nevertheless, it is still an exciting topic. Who would you like to see in these legendary roles? Let us know in the comments. We wonder above all, what about Wolverine? It is hard to imagine anyone else in the role besides Hugh Jackman. Kevin Feige seems to feel the same way. He recently revealed that there are no plans to recast the role anytime soon. However, he did admit that recasting would be inevitable at some point. For the upcoming X-Men film, this means either Logan won't appear at all, or Hugh Jackman will return as Wolverine once more. Behind the scenes, new people with fresh ideas are working on the new chapter of the MCU. Marvel has brought in 2 top-tier talents for this. Number 1, Michael Leslie. He is set to write the screenplay for the X-Men movie. Leslie may be new to the MCU, but he is no stranger to Hollywood. He wrote the scripts for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and the Michael Fassbender films Macbeth and Assassin's Creed, for example. The question of who will direct the film has also been answered. Jake Schreier, director of Thunderbolts, will direct the new X-Men movie. Clearly, Marvel was impressed with his work on his last MCU adventure. In fact, his experience makes him a strong fit for the mutant project. After all, Thunderbolts also involved bringing together a whole bunch of different characters, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The challenge was to give each character enough screen time while also telling an exciting, action-packed story. In other words, exactly the kind of balance many expect from an X-Men movie. Schreier himself has been cautious about sharing his plans so far. However, he emphasized that his version will be recognizably different from previous screen adaptations. He also revealed what particularly fascinates him about the material. Quote, "The core idea of what X-Men is involves complexity. It's an incredible opportunity with super interesting characters and much internal conflict. These characters are wrestling with their identity and place in the world. That's inherently interesting and complex material." If the mutant saga does indeed begin right after Secret Wars, then the release date is already known. X-Men would hit theaters on February 18th, 2028. At least that's the first release date Marvel has reserved for that particular year. However, that would be very close to the Avengers film, and February isn't really known as a favorable period for movie releases. It is quite possible that other projects, such as Blade or Black Panther 3, could be placed in that slot. We are therefore more likely to see it during the summer movie season on May 5th, 2028. The two alternative dates would be November 10th and December 15th, almost too late to ensure a smooth transition from the multiverse to the mutant saga. The introduction of the X-Men into the main timeline of the MCU should be the highlight of the upcoming MCU movies in Phase 7 and presents a genuine opportunity. It could solve a pressing problem, the retirement of older heroes. The current actors are not getting any younger, and hardly any fan would accept a recasting at the moment. At the same time, the rising costs of the stars have become an increasingly significant issue for Marvel. Combined with the enormous expenses for visual effects and marketing, superhero movies are just no longer profitable enough. Despite earnings of several $100 million, they're often considered flops, simply because they cannot recoup their high costs. New X-Men thus seem to be the right path for both fans and Disney. The characters are already established, have been recast before, and offer plenty of material for many films, both together and individually. Plus, the salaries are likely to be significantly lower, at least for the first projects, compared to someone like Robert Downey Jr. He's reportedly making $100 million or more for Doomsday alone. Following the multiverse saga, the mutant saga is not just a reset, but a promise. A promise for less, but higher quality content. A promise for a deeper narrative that explores the inner conflicts of the mutants. And above all, a promise that the X-Men will finally take their rightful place in the MCU. We are curious to see if Marvel can deliver on this promise. What are your thoughts? Are you ready for a new generation of X-Men? Do you think focusing on the mutants is the right direction for Marvel? Or do you believe the MCU is doomed either way? We look forward to your opinion, and would of course appreciate a like for the video. Until next time, your KinoCheck team.